All right, we're live now. We're at the St. Lawrence County Industrial Development Agency meeting, and I will have a call to order.
Mr. Staples?
Here.
Mr. Blevins?
Here.
Mr. Labath?
Here.
Mr. Morrow?
Here.
Mr. Reagan?
Here.
Mr. McMahon? Mr. Hall?
Here.
We have a quorum. Public notice was issued. And we have no public in the room. Do we have any public on the phone? Hearing none, we'll skip last the public comment and go to approval of minutes. Entertain a motion for the minutes of October 1st.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion of those minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Financial report for August 2021. Mr. Kelly, are you prepared to give us that?
Yes, do you want to have somebody motion it on the table?
We will.
I'll make that motion.
All right,
So moved.
open for discussion. If you would like to explain it now, I'd appreciate
Yes,
it.
you have the August 2021 financials. The highlights are we had building revenues of $9,055. We received our fourth and final installment from the county for our economic development services agreement of $75,000. We had a refund of some renewal costs because of the transition to PDC of $107,000. We had solar fees of approximately $70,000, interest earnings of about $3,300. Expenses, as you'll see, made up primarily of building and other ongoing operational expenses. The RBEG, we are getting closer to finishing up the USDA grant. We had $7,000 of expenses, underwriting costs for people to take the CDL program at City Academy. That is the summary.
Okay, anyone have any questions for Mr. Kelly? Hearing none, I will call it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Financial report is accepted. Do you have any report of committees?
No.
We do not, so we'll move right on to staff report. And we'll ask Mr. Kelly again for that.
We have a public hearing on November 4th for a Corning project. So we will be reaching out to the board for scheduling a meeting shortly after that, either the very end, a week or two from now. Try to get that project in front of you. We have 3 solar projects that we expect to close next week, totaling 12 megawatts. We have another 5 that we expect to close in the 2 or 3 weeks following that. We have another project in Oswegatchie for which we have consent resolutions that have been approved by the town. We're waiting from the school, and then we'll schedule a public hearing, and you'll have another project in front of you. We are working across the portfolio of potential projects, solar and otherwise. Anticipate probably we're in the low 20s right now in terms of projects approved, and another 10 or so in the development stage. There was a public session regarding the North Side Solar Project up in the Messina area. NextEra has asked us if we could submit a letter to the siting board regarding the potential for that project. When we do these, when we're asked to do letters of, what I'll call letters of support for a project that we don't have an application for, that we don't really have in front of you for your review and approval, we tend to write a letter that we support the process and having the project come to you without, I don't want to get ahead of your review, the cost benefit analysis, the application process. But if no one has any issues, we will submit a letter supporting that it go through the process and come to you.
I think that's a very good approach.
And we tell that it's not to say that we're not interested or not
Right.
supportive, but I think we have the whole public hearing process, we have a lot that goes into whether or not we support a project, and we hate to be too far ahead of it too early. There was a ribbon cutting at the Fort Villa presentation in Ogdensburg last Friday, where the Fort mentioned the IDA and the River Valley Redevelopment Agency for the support that we've provided them over the years. If you saw the article, we didn't make it in the picture, but
Yeah,
no,
it's a picture.
the fort itself, they went out of their way to thank us for our historical and ongoing support, so I want to make
I
sure.
think I saw Mr. Reagan in that picture.
Mr. Reagan was in that picture. Jim, and you are by far a greater fort expert than I am. Anything to add about that event or the status there?
Well, I think it was nice to get the commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation actually in Ogdensburg and at the Fort site. I think he was pleased and impressed to see the work that a all-volunteer group has been able to accomplish. And when you think about it, you know, this was a $1.1 million project on top of the $1.3 million project that was done 3 years ago to actually build the trail. As a member of the county legislature, I was happy to get, quite proud that I was able to get $60,000 from the county to provide the matching funds that they needed to make this project happen this summer. And it actually got completed. So, I think the IDA and the River Valley Development Authority should be proud of the fact that they helped a all-volunteer group get much accomplished in such a short time.
Well said. Thank you, Jim.
So thank you, thank all the board for assisting with this.
Finishing the former Newell building in Ogdensburg, the work there is nearly finished on this phase. We expect it to wrap up in November.
Yes.
We are putting out a postcard into Canada regarding the building and the border reopening. The border reopens on the 8th, so we're trying to hit two touch points with one postcard and one mailing into Ontario and Quebec. You may have seen the article about the Drum Country Let's Meet initiative. Drum Country is, as I know everybody's aware, a partnership of the Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence County IDAs, the Development Authority of the North Country, and Advocate Drum, which is Fort Drum's public relations entity and National Grid. We're doing regional marketing, trying to attract people to come back to the area. People have always talked about the brain drain and people leaving and the process for trying to get people to come back. In particular, as we're seeking workforce participants for our employers and trying to find ways to promote ourselves, not just at the county level, but regionally. This initiative is one more effort in that, toward that regard. Speaking of Fort Drum, I will point out, we talked about our visit there. John Pinkerton, Chairman Staples, and I went there a month or so ago. We've had a significant amount of follow-up with them. Lori was there earlier this week.
Yes.
At an open house session. We are making direct connections between their transitional services staff and our employers. Lots of discussion and activity underway.
We're gonna jump there next week.
We have a job fair next week there that we're participating in. So we're gonna be looking at using some marketing funds to upgrade our promotional materials and to present ourselves as a better option or an option for transitioning soldiers and their families who might want to stay in the region to consider St. Lawrence County. If people did not see, the latest September unemployment rates were out. We are at 4.5%, still lower than the state, which was at 7.1%. Our total employed figure is 4,600, which, and our unemployed is 1,900, so our total workforce is 42,500, which is up from 41,700 in June, the last time we met. So those trends are we're still below the state rate. Still obviously an issue finding workers like everywhere, but.
Historically, aren't we normally above the state?
Correct, yeah, that is
It's like
definitely.
those numbers are flipped.
Yes, typically.
Why? Is there a reason for that?
The hard work of the IDA is finally paying off. I think the pandemic impacted markets that have, different kinds of industries than we do, with the retail and other,
Sure.
the retail apocalypse. And I think some of our deterioration in those industries happened over a longer period of time. I think in some parts of the state, it happened very abruptly, and that has caused, and I've said this before, I think we've weathered the pandemic about as well as we probably could have. There's been a resilience in the employer base and in the economy that is still holding together very well. And that's true in the region, but certainly for the county ourselves. We are coming on the home stretch of our comprehensive economic development strategy. I believe the comptroller audit is going to be a draft final version for our review, could be as early as next week. They're looking to schedule an exit conference at some point with us. Our financial audit, we did an RFP at our next meeting, so we're gonna have to have a meeting because of the Corning project. We also will need to select and approve an audit firm for the next 3 years, because we have those RFP results back. That is, and we will probably have a governance meeting before our next IDA meeting, just so you're aware as well. We'll try to have that. But that is it for a staff report.
Thank you very much.
Let me ask you a question. When do you think the next meeting will be?
We will canvass people afterwards to try to find out. I'm probably the week after next. And we have some audit committee members, maybe an audit committee meeting like a week from now, and then the IDA meeting the following week is. But we'll, once everybody's got their calendars in front of them, we'll reach out to you.
Thank you very much, and the ample moments we appreciate it. No old business. Under new business, we have a resolution. We'll entertain a motion for accepting the final budget. Should be in your packets.
So moved.
Second?
All right. It's on the floor. Do you have any discussion concerning this?
The only thing I will point out is you had the draft budget prior to our last meeting. The only, where we could input tighter numbers based on receiving invoices, for example, insurance expense. We have done that, very, very minor change. The biggest change is we did, based on the board's recommendation, put in a $35,000 line item for a new vehicle purchase, which would be an estimated net value, net cost after we traded in the Traverse.
Excellent. And just to clear my own mind up, the chief executive officer currently is home. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions about the resolution? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the resolution is carried forward. Do we have any need for executive session?
We don't at this meeting. We are working on some potential project activity that may necessitate one at our next meeting.
That's fine. When we get there, we can talk about that. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
And we're adjourned.